In this video we're going to be looking over this Minolta X-700 35mm film SLR camera equipped with the MD Rokkor-X 45mm f2 prime lens. And my goal in this video is to demonstrate this camera in enough detail so that it's almost as if you're holding it in your hands and inspecting it. And I do have a scrap roll of film in here. I'm going to make sure the camera's turned on, and I'm just going to open up the back here. And normally, of course, you wouldn't do that, but here's a roll of film, and I just want to be able to show the film transport is working properly. And so, of course, when you get to the end of the roll, then you would press this little button on the bottom here. And then you can rewind it back into the housing with the crank. There, I felt it break free. And so all the film is back in here. And so, what I can show you now is the shutter speeds. Here's at 1/1000th of a second, 1/500th, 1/250th, 1/120th, 1/125th, 1/60th, 1/30th, 1/15th, 1/8th, 1/4th, 1/2, 1 full second, and the bulb setting, in which case the lens stays stopped down, the shutter stays open as long as the shutter button's held down, and it completes a cycle when it's released. This camera also has an aperture priority setting here up on the top, the A. And so I'm going to shut off some lights here for a little demo here. If we set this, I've got this set at ASA 100 or ISO 100. And so if I point it here kind of in this dark area at f2, we can listen to the shutter speed. And if keeping it at that same orientation, I switch to f16, much slower shutter speed. And further, if I shut off all the lights nearby here, much longer shutter speeds. We can see that the metering is controlling that. There's also a program mode on this model, and to switch to that you have to push this little button to rotate to the P, and then with that you want the aperture set at the green 16. Now some of these MD lenses had a little lock that would allow you to lock that. This one does not, so you have to set it at f16. And then depending on lighting conditions and whatever, it just picks some aperture and shutter speed for you and does a pretty good job. Now the other thing to check is the self-timer. I pulled up this little lever so the little red bar shows, and we point that at us, and here we can see the little red light flashing, and it will complete its cycle, and there it did. The camera is also equipped with a little beep sound so that if you're trying to take a picture in too dark of an area, and again let's try and make it kind of dark here. See, so there, but with the light on it doesn't beep because there is enough. So that's a little interesting feature, but you can always shut that off and just turn it on without the beep enabled if you don't like that. If we open up the back, again, let's pop this open and look. Now we can see the oh, I don't want that timer on. We can see the curtains are working, and everything looks pretty nice and clean. In fact, as I look at these door edges, I don't feel any light seal residue along there. Very nice and clean. And here's some foam right here. Feels pretty good. Yeah, so I don't think this one needs light seals. Looks pretty good to me. Door latches properly. Really nice crank. If we take off the lens and look at that, we can push this little button and rotate the lens. Smooth focus. And really nice clicks on the aperture ring. And at minimum aperture we can look in there. I don't see any oil on the blades. Blades are quick and snappy. Now I did look through here toward a bright LED light, and I thought I saw just a slight little haze down in there. It was slight enough that I don't think I could even make that show up in the pictures, so I'm not going to try, but be aware of that. If we look at the camera mirror box, everything looks really good in there. Nice and clean. So lens mounts properly. Let's line up the red dot. And filter threads are good. I don't have a lens cap, but I do have this filter that can go on there. And it's a strap that says here for Minolta cameras, so it's got the Minolta name on it. Still has the plastic on the bottom. There's a pair of batteries in there that are operating the camera. I don't know how good they are, but they're working it for now. The viewfinder, all the lights worked when I looked at that, so that is all working. So a fairly nice example of the Minolta X-700.